Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this week's NXT review. So before we get started, just want to do a shout out to Jacob Ballard, who I know watches quite a few of the videos, so really do appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And a big thank you to all of you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I really would appreciate it if you did. And also you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Wrestling Days UK. Samoa Joe starts the show and talks about how disrespected he felt because everyone's saying that this is going to be a #1 contenders match. Joe basically says, I decide who the #1 contender is. He points out that he slayed the demon, and then he says that he brought Strong Style over to NXT. So if Nakamura is the king, then Joe is the emperor. I thought this was a great promo. It kind of felt like someone was going to interrupt, but I couldn't think of anyone that was big enough, as bad as that sounds, that's a face that could really interrupt it. But then Rhino's music hit. Makes perfect sense, and the match has been made for next week. A few other matches made next week. Bayley against Nia Jax, and American Alpha against the Authors of Pain. So next week's show looks like it's going to be absolutely incredible. So another week to look forward to with NXT. They just keep knocking it out of the park. But that was it. The promo wasn't that long. We had a few video packages, a bit of hype for the Cruiserweight Classic, which I'll do a separate video on, which was awesome, by the way. You need to watch that video once I get it uploaded. But this was all Nakamura against Balor, and it was just a contest of friends. Two of the real greats in wrestling right now clashing, going head to head. You know, they pointed out that this was a takeover. Corey Graves said this is a takeover quality main event. I would disagree. I would say it's a WrestleMania quality main event. As I said in I think it was last week's NXT review, that, you know, someone said to me that this match was on the WrestleMania card. I'd completely believe it and would look forward to it. This is, you know, really as big as it gets. As big as it gets. I don't even know where to start. I've got all my notes. I'm going to have to keep referring to my notes because I've got 3 pages of notes on the match. The big picture of the match: slow start, stumbles a little bit in the middle for me, nice build at the end. The start is an awful lot of headlocks and a few other kind of, not rest holds, but there's a few smatterings of submission moves in there. Really doesn't build as well as what I would want in the middle. Kind of kept waiting and waiting for it to go. It does go. It does click relatively late. It's brilliant when it does. And the match overall, I would say, is probably a light 8 out of 10. It's a great match. You should definitely watch it. And I don't want to come across as if I'm being really down on it, because I'm not. But it's not for me. It's not for me a match of the year contender. It is. It was just really interesting. That's what it was for me. It was an interesting match. I watched it, and I think you can tell from the crowd there wasn't that many chants throughout it. There was just people just watching it and enjoying it, and, you know, waiting to see what was going to come next. At the start, you get "this is awesome" chants before anything's happened. You've got a Nakamura into a "let's go Finn." You've got NXT chants. They start with a test of strength. Nakamura tries to take the legs away, go back for a test of strength. Balor goes round the back and it turns into a wrist lock. There's a cartwheel reversal from Nakamura, but then basically it's a takedown into another headlock, and this headlock seems to be what they keep going back to. As I said, it's a pretty slow start. They're in the headlock still, it goes to the ropes, and Balor's got Nakamura in the headlock, and he has to release because it's a rope break. And basically Nakamura just has his head on Balor's chest and just lets his arms dangle like this. Just a bit of showmanship. But Balor basically turns Nakamura around and does the "too sweet" sign on his head. Nakamura, I mean, like, the crowd loved that moment. I loved that moment, but Nakamura didn't love that moment, and it fired him up, and this was the first real energy that we got in the match. It was good, you know. It was they did go back to the headlock, but there was a couple of good vibrations, you know, where Nakamura puts his foot on the chest of his opponent and then does that kind of shaking thing. Good vibrations is what it's called. There was a couple of those. There was a knee to the back of the head on the outside of the ring. Balor did a drop kick to Nakamura's knee on the inside. There was a drop kick to the head as well. This thing was back and forth. There was a beautiful Balor sequence in the corner, just like striking, that just it destroyed Nakamura's knee. And for me, this was a clear focus area for Balor. Balor was working Nakamura's knees. It was a surfboard submission attempt as well. You know, I think Daniel Bryan used to do it quite a bit, where you tie them up and then pull them back, and then you're on your back and they're kind of up in the air. Puts a lot of pressure on the joints. He couldn't get it, and so he ended up just basically jumping down on Nakamura's knees. Headlock to start, a lot of work on Nakamura's knees. Another kick to the knee from Balor. The thing was that Balor had kind of been doing this for, I don't know, felt like about 10 minutes. And then Nakamura started to get a bit of offense and just started just walking freely, striking with his knees, and what didn't sell it. You know, there was no collapsing down or I can't do it or anything like that. It was as if the previous 10 minutes hadn't happened. That for me is where it kind of started lulling. You wanted it to kick off, and Nakamura was kicking it off. The pace was, you know, quickening, but it was going against what happened earlier in the match. The ring psychology wasn't quite right. You know, Nakamura should have sold that knee injury more. Crowd pretty quiet, but you know, there was a chant of "This is wrestling." I think they appreciated what they were watching. It wasn't a spot fest, but there was a fantastic submission hold applied from Balor. It was I think they referred to it as a short arm scissors to the knee. It was kind of I can't explain what he did. You need to watch it, but it was a submission hold I've not seen before, which he just slaps on. It's like, what is that? And it was brilliant. It was a great moment. Nakamura was selling when he was being worked on very well. I mean, he was screaming in pain, and you really believed that he was going through it. My only problem was that when Nakamura had his offense, it was as if nothing had been happening. So just a little niggle there just really does take the match quality down for me. Armbar takedown into triangle was amazing from Nakamura. It was the spot of the match. I've seen Asuka do it quite a few times. It's like jumps up, grabs the arm, takes him down. It's a beautiful, beautiful sequence. I don't know if I've seen Nakamura do it before, but I know Asuka's done it a few times. Knees to the head. Balor hits a reverse 1916 for a 2 count. Great show of strength. Like, really has to pick him up and slam him down. And like, Nakamura's a big guy. So a great show of strength. That obviously prompted a "This is awesome" chant. Balor ran in to a kick and then got hit with the Kinshasa. And basically you thought that was it. You know, no one's kicked out of that move, but Balor does with like milliseconds to spare. This is like the third part of the match for me. This is where we've got past that first part that was all headlocks. We've got past that middle bit, which was the back and forth and the Nakamura not selling. We're now into the third and final part. Very fast action, lots of spots, kick out of that Kinshasa. I just can't even say Kinshasa. I'm so used to hearing Corey Graves scream it that I can't say it. Fight forever chant at this point. Double stomp by Balor. You know, Nakamura was running over. Balor just jumps up, just lands down on his chest. It was like a coup de grace in the middle of the ring. Sets up for the coup de grace, misses it, and the Kinshasa again for the win. for Nakamura. As I said, good pacing at the end. It was takeover quality, no doubt about it. As I said, 8 out of 10 match. Thank you, Finn chants at the end. I expect him in the draft next week, simple as that. I expect him to be drafted. Nakamura, not sure, could also be drafted. You know, Samoa Joe kind of saying that neither man, you know, who's worthy of, you know, a title shot at the start. I'm just wondering if that's their way of pushing them both out the door now. Right guy won. Nakamura's never held NXT title, so I think it's right that he wins this match against Balor, who held the title for longer than anyone else. I believe it was in developmental. And as I said, match itself was good, very good, just not great, just short of great for me. But enjoyed watching it all the same, and as I said, you know, really loved some of the spots that I saw, and yeah, if you haven't seen it, I really do recommend it. So, good match, very good match. They've set up next week, all eyes on the draft now. Who gets drafted on Tuesday? What does NXT look like next week? You know, it could be that Bayley gets drafted and she makes this kind of one last appearance against Nia Jax, or maybe Bayley doesn't, or can't wait to find out. Cool. Don't forget you can follow me Twitter and Facebook, as we said at the start, at Wrestling Days UK, and please subscribe if you haven't to this channel, and join me for the Cruiserweight Classic first episode review as well, because that, in my opinion, was better than NXT this week. And, you know, this wasn't an average week for me to say that. Cool. Thanks a lot for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.